It is a journey through the Bible with Mukhwana Isaac. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. We thank God for the gift of this day and for the gift of life. Yesterday, we looked at Saul, the first king of Israel, but failure, and we saw how God rejected him. Today, we look at David, his successor, the ideal king of Israel. With David, things were quite different. Yes, he was deeply loved by his people. To them, he was the ideal king, the one to whom future generations would look back, wishing that David were still ruling them. The people thought so much of him that when under God's influence, the Israelites began to hope for a Messiah. Their thoughts and hopes for a Messiah were really a hope for a second David. Truly, David did deserve this love and admiration in spite of his faults. David, as a person, is a man who was chosen by God. God told Samuel to anoint David as king of Israel. Although Saul was still living, we see this in 1 Samuel chapter 16 verse 1 to 13. And yesterday we saw how God, the same God, told Samuel to anoint Saul the first king. So David was a shepherd, just like Saul was. The youngest son of Jesse, who lived in Bethlehem, a town belonging to the tribe of Judah. 700 years before, Jacob had foretold that the promise made by God to Abraham would be fulfilled through the tribe of Judah. We saw this in Genesis chapter 49 verse 10. Samuel visited Jesse and invited him and his sons to offer a sacrifice. 7 sons of Jesse were brought to Samuel, but God told him that he had chosen none of these. Samuel asked Jesse if he had any more sons. Yes, he had more. David, the youngest, who was at that moment looking after the sheep. David was a good-looking young man. When he came before Samuel, the Lord said, "Arise, anoint him, for this is he." 1 Samuel chapter 16 verse 12. Again, we have an example of a God choosing whom he wants. Right from Genesis, God calls Abraham. We saw a God choosing he whom he wants. And that brings us to the end of today's episode, where we've seen God choosing whom he wants. Tomorrow, we shall look at this man, David, saving Israel from Goliath. Be blessed.